Big doings at Quincy High School coming up later on this month for Roll Hats Weekend. It's all about Quincy Public Schools athletics, the president's athletics. So in studio today to tell us all about it, we want to welcome, first of all, retired coach, teacher Bob Noble, also athletic director Kevin Mahoney, and really the star of the show is going to be Amira Said, who is going to give us all the student perspective on this coming weekend. It's going to be September 23rd and 24th. A couple of different locations, all about volleyball, soccer, and football. And Coach, I thought we'd start with you, if that's all right.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having us on.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Very much appreciated.
Happy to do it. Happy to spotlight.
My pleasure. It's
all
all
the
of our pleasure.
student
Yes,
athletes and the presidents as well. So you're welcome.
Okay.
What is Roll Hats Weekend, Bob?
Well, it's beginnings, if you will, really start with when I was coaching this past couple of years. I've been coaching at Hingham High School, and really in October for them, they have a homecoming weekend. And it's a wonderful, it has really matured down there. They've been doing it for a while now. And the city, the town of Hingham has very much bought into it. But what it was, as I was a part of it as far as coaching the football game, it really came to me that this is something we have to do in the city of Quincy. The whole format, the way they do it, we in fact did reach out to them when we decided we were going to try to do that here. And I very much want to thank Jim Quattromoni and his assistant for kind of giving us some tips, if you use the football analogy, but the playbook to get this started. And it kind of went from there. And part of my reasoning behind wanting to bring it to Quincy is, we have probably the finest, I think a lot of people don't realize this. I think some of our kids sometimes are a little spoiled by the facilities they get to play in here. And in particular, Veterans Memorial Stadium. It is probably the finest high school venue, certainly on the South Shore, dare I say maybe in the entire state for as a showcase for athletics, but not only for athletics, but for other events as well. Mm-hmm. And this Roll Hat Weekend is one of them. Not only are the athletic teams going to perform, but the whole idea behind this is really, what I saw in Hingham as well, was to really show what, in this case, Quincy High School is all about and what it really stands for and who really is a part of it. And what they did down in Hingham and we're doing here in Quincy is the entire field was surrounded by various tables representing the various activities in the school, the various clubs in the school, everything what was going on at Hingham High School.
So more than just sports, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the point of all this.
Yeah.
This is an all-inclusive event. This is not just about athletics.
Right.
It is about everything that goes on at Quincy High School. And as we stand right now, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Kevin, we've got some 20 tables already assigned.
That's great.
For the various activities, so on and so forth. So that's where it came from. And I was very fortunate to go to the powers that be here at the high school first. Then Principal Larry Taglieri and now Keith Ford,
right.
To kind of present this to him. Also to the athletic director Kevin Mahoney, and they and Eddie Smith and the vice principal as well, and they very much got on board on this and were extremely enthusiastic and really helped getting this going for us. And then, quite honestly, the next thing I did was get a hold of Scott Campbell. Mm-hmm. And because I know Scott is very good at organizing things and social media and things of that nature,
sure.
Which I am not good at. I think I'm glad to know that I know what my weaknesses were.
And strengths.
So and strength. It is just literally, again, forgive the pun, it really has rolled forward at this point.
Yeah.
We've got a number of supporters behind us now. The city of Quincy, Mayor Koch. Whatever we needed or what perhaps we needed, he was there for us. The school committee is funding a jumpy house there. There'll be all kinds of things going on at this day.
Okay, so it's
the
family
school
stuff.
Committee, absolutely. The great Dr. Ali Yakubian. I happened to see him at the football game last Friday night. He was there with Frank Santoro, who was the originator of
the hat.
And I'm sure I have to say that. And we mentioned it past and talked about the Roll Hats Weekend and what have you. And Dr. Yakubian, being the great individual he is, simply reached in his pocket, took out his checkbook,
No kidding.
and wrote a very nice check to
Wow.
us. So, I mean, he's a wonderful gentleman for both schools, and I can't say enough
Sure.
how much we appreciate that.
When did this actually start, Bob? How long ago?
Probably, well, I mean, it's gone back maybe a year or so when I first started mentioning it to Kevin.
Yeah.
And then it really evolved over this past summer. I think
Okay.
we really started getting going in, June, July, middle of July,
Okay.
and it's been going full bore ever since.
Okay, so is this going to be the very first?
This is going to be the
weekend?
very first
It
one,
is?
and
Okay.
hopefully what we're going to do, or what it will become, is a true homecoming weekend.
Right, yeah.
In the years ahead, and we'll just hopefully just keep on building on it as time goes on. We'll see what we've done right, done not, what we
Could
can do
do
correctly.
better, right?
And build on that. But
Yeah.
that's the goal, is to make this a one of the high points, certainly of the beginning of the school season.
Yeah.
And also for our alumni as well. I mean, that's the other thing that's happening quite a bit, is we're getting a tremendous response from our alumni. I mean, again, the Bogan Tree Service, Mark Bogan, the great running back for us, his company is,
Sure.
is Local 88 and 133. Forgive me for reading this.
That's okay.
Looking down, but A&H Campbell and Son, the Quincy Alumni Football Organization, the Fowler House. Fowler House is graciously going to do a number of things for us. After the football game on Friday night, they're graciously going to set aside some room within there for the Quincy alumni, and so to go and hopefully celebrate
Have
the
an
victory
after party?
afterwards. Yes. The Bow Foundation, the Senior Resource Center, Tom Fraterillo and his company Art Design, Hank and Joanne Dundero, the Quincy Pack, and Ginger Betty's, who I went to see yesterday, and they're going to be very much involved as well.
Probably
So-
a creative something coming out of their
Yes,
kitchen.
very
for-
much
for
so,
this, I bet, yeah.
because the night before, and I'll actually leave that stuff to Kevin, but I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really gained some momentum,
Yeah.
and we're very, very excited about it, and very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking it's especially meaningful coming out of the past 2 years with the pandemic,
Yes.
and to be able to get together in person, celebrate school pride,
Mm-hmm.
right, and athletics and community organizations. It's going to be meaningful, I think.
And it very much has appeared that way.
Yeah.
As I said, the response on the part of alumni has been really great. I mean, we keep hearing, Scott in particular, keeps hearing, "This is great. I want to be a part of this. This, it's about time we've done something like that." Words to that effect.
Sure.
So that's hopefully, again, that's something we can build on in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. You're setting a precedent this
Yes.
year, so very good. Kevin, we should talk about the actual logistics, but before we do that, let's welcome Amira, really the star of the show here, wearing an actual hat, a president's hat, right? Representing
Of
the
course.
Quincy High School presidents. Where did roll hats come from, Amira?
Honestly, it was just a combination of all the summer sports. It just really started off in the summer. We got really excited for school year to begin as seniors. So honestly, roll hats is kind of like a gift that the class of 23 wants to give
Oh.
to Quincy High.
Okay.
We wanted to start this tradition so everyone could have more school spirit. Obviously, because of COVID and the pandemic, it's been really hard for people to really reach out to each other and like have that like sense of like excitement and joy and really come together and be a team. But it's more than just the athletics at Quincy High. It's like all the clubs as well. Everyone's out at Quincy High saying roll hats, even if they're like on the like student council team or if they're on the football team. It's
Okay.
something that can bring everyone together.
Okay, so academics and athletics.
Yes, exactly.
And extracurricular
Yeah.
activities all coming together as a school group, right? A school
Yes,
community.
it's awesome. We really needed this.
Yeah. Where did the actual slogan come from? Who wants to talk about the actual slogan, roll hats?
Roll hats.
Yeah.
Well, for example, like University of Alabama, they say roll tide,
Okay.
and they're notorious for having like the most school spirit.
Oh,
so
all
it's
right.
kind of like a little
A play on
top
that.
of that. Like,
Tip of the hat. Okay.
So we just kind of took that from them, roll hats, and
Okay.
it sounds good, honestly.
All right, so people are really
Catchy.
latching onto it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is everybody going to have a hat?
I would love that, honestly. If we could get everyone a hat, I bet everyone would wear it. The
Okay.
school spirit this year is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
The 2022-23 school year is upon us, and we have some exciting things ahead.
From learning new schedules to welcoming new students.
This year, along with welcoming a new principal, we're starting a new tradition.
Roll Hats Weekend.
That's right. On September 23rd through 24th, we'll be welcoming a new tradition for all students to participate in.
From Student Council.
To the Interact Club.
To the robotics team.
To the drama club.
And the performing arts. To the cheerleading team.
And the alumni.
On Friday, September 23rd, girls volleyball will take on Plymouth South to kick off Roll Hats Weekend. Girls soccer kicks it off at 2 p.m.
Followed by boys soccer at 4 p.m.
Immediately followed will be the band Daisy.
The final game is the Presidents versus Westwood at 7 p.m. Get there.
So join us.
Wear your blue and white.
But most of all,
Roll hats.
So, Kevin, let's talk about that actual weekend. What's going to be happening? It's actually starts Friday night, right? September 23rd.
Yes. Yep. So Friday night, we're going to kick off the weekend with our girls volleyball program taking on Plymouth South. Prior to the game, we've both Coach Niosi and with the help of Scotty Campbell have reached out to numerous alumni over the years. Obviously, the girls volleyball program at Quincy High has been extremely successful for decades now. So we wanted to bring as many alumni back as we could. So the outreach has been great. So they're going to do a little get-together beforehand. We're going to try to celebrate the certain players that are there over the decades and announce them between sets. And then and then hopefully our girls volleyball team does well against Plymouth South, and then that's going to, no pun intended, roll into the next day.
So that's at the high school, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, at Quincy High School
Okay.
Friday night. Yep. Right around like 5:30ish will be those festivities prior, and then the game will be starting around 5:30ish.
Okay.
So, and then the next morning, we're going to start off with, as Coach Noble had mentioned, our plan is to line the entire stadium with a lot of our clubs, different sports teams, and activities in the high school. So shout out to Principal Ford and Assistant Principal Eddie Smith, who are kind of working with the clubs and activities in the high school to get their interest and whatnot and see who can make it that day.
Okay.
And then there's been tremendous support by all those groups that want to be a part of it.
That's
so,
great.
We're really looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome for the community that comes down to see all the tremendous things that are going on within our high school, not just athletics, like all our clubs, activities. So many talented student athletes and students within Quincy High. So it's going to be just tremendous to see.
Clubs like robotics.
Yes.
Interact Club.
Yep.
Probably drama.
Yeah,
club, I'm
like
guessing,
all
right?
these different clubs that students are. There's drama productions that might not be highlighted
Right.
per se than a sports game or a sports activity. So this is just a great way to see all the faces of Quincy High.
Right.
Which make it such a unique place to be a part of. So.
Sure. And then there'll be a soccer game.
Yes, yeah. So we'll jump right into like soccer at that point.
Yeah.
It'll be girls soccer against Pembroke at 2:00, and then boys soccer against Pembroke at 4:00.
Oh, okay.
And then prior to our football game, we'll actually have a student band play. So it'll be the band Daisy, which is made up of 4 Quincy High School students, will perform their music for the folks there and the students that are present. So another highlight of a pretty unique thing that these kids are doing, but
So it's a
showing off
band-
their talent.
Yeah, a band outside of the school.
Outside of the school,
That they have,
yes. It's
okay.
almost like a rock band
All
that
right.
these kids have, yeah.
Fun.
So it's awesome. So we're going to have them play, and then that will lead into warm-ups for football, and then kickoff for football will be right around 7:15, where the Presidents will take on Westwood.
Westwood, okay.
Yes.
Under the lights at that point.
Under
right?
the lights
Yeah.
at that point, yep. All that day on Saturday will be at Veterans Stadium.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there any charge to go in and see these events or these games?
Still working on those logistics.
Okay.
I think there'll have to be a charge for football,
Yeah.
but we're still going to work on some of the stuff throughout the day.
Okay.
So,
all right.
but definitely family friendly.
Yes.
So most of those young kids we'll let them in. We want as many folks in there as possible so that they can see all the great things going on.
See their brothers and sisters,
Yes.
right? All their siblings,
Yep.
their cousins, parents. Some groups are getting involved, I'm assuming, as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Some
Yep.
PTOs.
Yep.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And you have full support of the administration, I'm guessing?
Of course, yeah. No, as Coach Noble said, there's been so many folks that are willing to help us out. Special shout out to Coach Noble for bringing this idea to our plate, and Scotty Campbell, who's been absolutely terrific leading up to this. And then obviously the mayor's office, all their support has been awesome. The Parks Department has been great about setting up the fields and making sure that we're available, for that weekend. School committee, full support from them. Superintendent Mulvey and his leadership team are all on board. So, and as I said, Principal Ford and Assistant Principal Smith have been just awesome with running with this.
Amira, what do the kids think about all this?
Honestly, I have never seen a group of teenagers so excited for something. And
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome, honestly. And usually, we take everything as a joke, but everyone I know is saying roll hats. Everyone's looking forward to this weekend and excited about working at a table for their club or playing on that day or just going to support or even help out and volunteer and set up games. Everyone all together is excited, families, faculty, the students. It's going to be a great weekend, I believe.
I should call you Madam President, actually, right?
Thank
President
you.
of the class of 23, is that right?
Yes.
And also captain of the girls' lacrosse team?
Yes.
And anything else?
I run cross country.
That's that all. Will you be participating at all in any of the athletics during Roll Hats? Or are you too busy for that?
I will be helping, setting things up throughout the day. So, and I'll also be helping announcing things as well. But you can find me at the lacrosse table or the student council table. I'll be all over the place.
I think you'll be on the big screen too.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, so folks should look for you.
Yeah.
What is your message to your underclassmen about about an event like this, or about school pride in general? Why do you
School
think it's
pride in
important?
general,
Yeah.
honestly, what I wish someone told me when I was an underclassman was don't be embarrassed. Honestly, the most embarrassing thing ever is to not have any school pride. Go out there, dress up according to theme, and just be loud and cheer everyone on. And honestly, I feel like the underclassmen are starting to get that message. Last week, our football game, everyone dressed up according to theme. We had a huge USA section cheering on our football team, and I was pleasantly surprised to see everyone, even the underclassmen, really are excited about just having school pride and school spirit.
Bob, is this what you envisioned would happen? Hoped would happen?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just to add to what you said, I thought was rather interesting and somewhat unique too, other than perhaps Thanksgiving. At the conclusion of the football game, which Quincy won, a vast amount of the student body ran out onto the field to the football team.
No kidding.
And to celebrate.
Yes. Yeah.
And you haven't seen that a lot of that in quite a while. So I said, other than perhaps maybe winning on Thanksgiving,
yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really did. From my perspective of having been there, been in those situations, that was pretty nice to see that they were that enthusiastic, that our players were that enthusiastic too. And what I've noticed, I've been around the football team just a bit this year. At the end of every practice, whatever the case may be, game, they get together and then in one loud cry, it's all roll hats. So, I guess I can speak. I don't want to speak for the football team, but they've certainly bought in terms of that. And they did that at the end of the game too, and all the kids were running on the field doing the same thing.
Yep.
So that was pretty nice. It really was.
Do you think events like this that instills school pride and camaraderie translate into the classroom?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Having been a former teacher,
Right,
I hope so.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee that by any stretch of imagination, but it's just nice to see that the student body has some sense of pride in where they are and who they are and where they're going to school. Now, will that hopefully translate into trying to be a better version of themselves as far as academically is concerned? I certainly would hope so.
Right.
But yeah, we've got it's there. It's just been we've had to get it out. Put it that way.
Yep.
We had to let it rise, and at least at this moment in time, it certainly seems that way.
Sure. Kevin, I'm sure you're hoping, also athletic director, you're hoping, of course, for a well-rounded student all around, right?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Not just for athlete,
I try to preach to the kids, obviously, academics first.
Yeah.
Try to get involved in as many things as you can, even if it's not athletics. At least don't go home at 2:30. Try to get involved with all these other clubs and activities.
Maybe even one thing, right?
Just one thing.
Maybe even one thing, yeah.
Just to stay in the school, and focus on your studies. I think all these after-school activities are going to also help that. And I think this weekend is the hope, and I think it's starting to come. Is that pride comes back and certainly lets our students know that we're here for them, and we want them to take advantage of these opportunities that they have in front of them. So
Sure. Amira, what's your future holds? What is your career path?
I'm definitely going to four-year college after high school this year. I am still deciding between the schools, and I'm obviously going to be doing early action. But whatever school I go to, I hope the school pride is still there. I think that's a big thing. I'm really excited, and that's just basically looking forward to going to college this year.
Okay, all right. Has it been tough during the pandemic the past couple of years being in high school?
100%.
Yeah.
I felt, and others must have felt like their work ethic just gone completely just downhill. I used to be very on it about everything, and I've noticed myself slack off a little bit. But it's nice to see that mostly everyone has pulled themselves out of that. And this honestly has made us all stronger and better students because of that.
Sure, and there's a great way to celebrate that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's Roll Hats weekend. Anything else we should touch on, do you think, before we wrap up today?
I don't think so.
Come on out.
Good.
Roll hats.
Yeah, roll hats.
Yep.
Yes, come on out, 23rd, 24th, show your pride. Very excited to see everybody out there. So
I'm going to throw this out there, Kevin, because you're athletic director now
Sure.
for the entire school system, for the high school system.
Yeah.
Do we need Roll Raiders for North?
we'll have to see if that comes on the horizon. Yes, but as as Coach said, this has been something that has kind of been built on for almost a year now, honestly, since he approached me about it, and it's really built up over the last couple of months. So could cross that bridge eventually, but right now we're going to focus on what's at hand. So.
Well, it's obvious it takes a lot of legwork to put something like this together. A lot of volunteers stepping up, I'm sure. Do you need help that day or that weekend? Any opportunities for volunteering? Or Amira,
yeah, I've gotten a little group together for volunteer hours because we do need some help between games and everything because we're having some things during halftime to set everything up. But other than that, we're doing pretty well. Student council's helping out a lot as well.
Sure. Okay, so everybody can have a hand in it one way or another. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks again. I really appreciate it. Good to talk to you.
Thank you for having us on.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for watching us here at AM Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Please join us again next time.